Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everyone doing on another wonderful Monday evening? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Let me start off right off the bat this week with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, and I love all the fellow reality TV fans out there. I tell you what, there are some days where coming out here on a Monday, getting to talk to y'all for a little bit, it's just a nice little getting away from everything else, just a nice little break to hang out with y'all and just talk about whatever comes up. So I hope y'all are doing well because I'm ready to talk for a little bit. I hope y'all are too. Give me your thoughts as we go along. I'm going to try to keep up with these comments as best as I can. And if I miss them, sorry, but I'll do the best I can. We'll see what happens. Do this real quick. All right. How's everyone doing out there? I see already a whole lot of y'all out there in the comments. And that always makes me so happy. I love seeing all my friends out there. Chicky D, Parker, Don, Chris, Hayden, Crosstracks, Nicole, David, Amanda. Oh man, all of y'all are Ma. Don't want to leave you out, and Brian as well. Welcome to all of y'all. Hope y'all are doing great. Hope you survived your St. Patrick's Day last week. Hope you didn't get pinched too hard and all that. Now we got a little week or so to go, and then we got Easter coming up. What is that? Not this coming up weekend, but the weekend following. It's going to be nice. I'm actually going to get to celebrate this Easter with the extended family. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, Easter is always kind of fun with, smaller kids doing Easter egg hunts, and I always it's a perfect time I do my own version of Easter egg hunts. I try to take eggs after the Easter bunnies come. I take my own eggs and I hide them out there and I make them hard to find. And I challenge everyone to find the eggs that I hide. So, I always have fun with that. So we may talk about that in just a little bit. Ma saying, who else forgot it was St. Patrick's Day when it was Wednesday? Yeah, it was kind of right there in the middle of the week with COVID and quarantine still going on. It's still downplaying a little bit the celebrations as compared to most years, but especially being right in the middle of the week. Not quite as much excitement as we've had in the past. Now, I had my own excitement on St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going to talk about that because it was a rough couple of days after St. Patrick's Day. But before we do that, let's just start up while some other people are coming in. All right, Don, I heard about a Biff log on Hello Friends yesterday. I saw that little Twitter account. I believe it was on Twitter. It may have been Instagram, but I saw the account myself, and not only does it say Biff log, but it also has a picture of a cowboy cat in the profile photo. So yeah, that's I have to visit with this Biff log and find out what's going on with that particular little account. All right, but let's talk about what's going on today. And I saw someone mention in the comments already, but I want to make sure the rest of y'all know as well. We lots of times talk about today is National What Day. I think last week was National Napping Day, which works for me. But today we have another fun one. Today, as mentioned, today is National Goofing Off Day. I'm pretty good at that. I don't think I need a national holiday to tell me when I can goof off and all of that. I've kind of been on this planet enough that I've made goofing off quite the skill set. I gotta say, when I was inside that Big Brother house, there were times when I was sitting out by that swimming pool, the middle of the day on a Wednesday, thinking, man, if I wasn't doing Big Brother, I'd be back at home working right now. Sure, not sitting out by a swimming pool, hanging out with a bunch of 20-somethings the way I went on. So if there was ever a summer of goofing off, I feel like my time in the Big Brother house was that. Although it was a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved, but there's certainly goofing off. How do you call it anything but when you're sitting by the swimming pool doing that? So National Goofing Off Day. So I hope y'all are enjoying it. I'm kind of curious what y'all do for goofing off when you have that free day every once in a while. Seems like they're few and far between sometimes, but I like to sleep a little late, and then I get up and I'll either go outside and work in the backyard a little bit, or I'll just plop myself in front of the TV set and just watch TV. But when it's goofing off, I tend to find the really strange shows that no one else would ever think of. And I'm good at finding the strangest of the strange. I'm the one, I'll go out there and I'll find dodgeball being played with people who juggle bowling pins. Yeah, things like that. Yeah, I can always find the most unique shows when I'm going through those channels. And so maybe I'll do that after I shut down with y'all tonight. going to find the strangest show I can find on TV, and I'll celebrate goofing off in my own special style. I used to do a lot of video games, especially when my son and daughter were still at home and all of that. It was tough because I could not win at FIFA or Madden or some of the other games that we played. Call of Duty, I played them all. I didn't play them well, but I had fun playing. But now the kids are out of the house, I tend to just plop in front of the TV set or get on social media. You're talking about a vacuum of your time. I can get on these things and be out here forever and not even realize it until it's midnight and I've spent the whole day doing it. Someone mentioned in there, let me go back, was yesterday National Down Syndrome. Yeah, National Down Syndrome Awareness Day. I did not know that, Parker, but thank you very much for that. I'm glad they're recognized. There's so much that's gone on in terms of inclusivity of people that have are having to deal with Down syndrome and all that. So I'm glad to hear that. And today is National Screw Chemistry Day. Nah, don't say that, Ma. Yeah, you got to do well on the chemistry. I had to take a year of chemistry while I was in college, and I took it in high school too. Yeah, maybe not my all-time favorite, but I got to say, I actually remember a lot of my chemistry even to this day. Sodium chlorides, hydrochlorides, all those kind of things that you have to know, balancing equations. It's actually kind of cool once you figure it out. So don't give up on chemistry. It's actually depends on what you do for a living. If you work at a bank or something, you may not use a lot of chemistry, but still good to know. When you're reading labels and such on your food for nutrition, it's good to know what that stuff means. All right, let's see. And do your homework. All right, let's see what else is going on. Goofing off takes more effort than work does. Anthony, I've heard people say that, but I have a whole lot more fun doing that kind of work of goofing off than doing the work that's not the goofing off. Now, you got to balance it out, right? I don't get paid, other than inside the Big Brother house. You don't really get paid for goofing off. So just like everything else, it's all in moderations, right? All right, let's see what else is going on here. Goof off every day, including have fun at toy stores. Angie's saying playing physical toys at home. Everyone who visits thinks I have children. I love the old toys. I had as much fun when the kids were in the house playing with their toys, playing with them and everything else. And now I've got my old toys. We talked last week about G.I. Joes and Evel Knievels and things like that. Legos. You put me up with a big old pile of Legos or Lincoln Logs, and I can build. I'm a builder. I'm a creator. So anything that involves putting things together, there's no age limit on that stuff, right? They always have a minimum age because they don't want you swallowing the toys and all that. But there's no upper age limit. So yeah. As you get older, your toys kind of go up in complexity, go up in price as well. But there's nothing wrong with the old-fashioned Lincoln Logs or Tinker Toys as well. All right, let's see. So we've got a National Goofing Off Day, and Parker said I'm on the computer 17 hours a day on average. I try not to be on that long, Parker. Got to sleep a little bit in there as well and everything. But yeah, enjoy your goofing off day and do something fun and exotic to go along with it. All right, now one more before we get into some more serious things. On this day in history, I looked back, saw some different things, very serious topics and all that, but one that's not so serious. On this day in 1957, a song was released by the great Elvis Presley. Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yes, indeed. All Shook Up, introduced by Elvis Presley. I'm not a huge Elvis Presley fan, but I love most. I like most of his songs. His songs are great for singing in the shower. So that's why I know a lot of Elvis songs, just because I can get that shower and to get the echo going and everything else. And I don't know. I guess his voice is kind of that gravelly, a little bit deeper, so it fits well with what I do. And so yeah. So celebrate Elvis Presley. I heard a rumor that it was written because someone, while they were trying to write a song, kept shaking a Pepsi bottle because they were nervous, or a can of Pepsi, and someone said, "Oh, that thing's all shook up," and they heard that and said, "Hey, let's use that as part of the song." Don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds like a pretty cool little deal. All right, dating myself with Lincoln Logs, Cliff. Yeah, Cindy. Well, maybe so. There's a lot of things that I date myself with, but yeah, I have blasted Lincoln Logs. And you know what? I wasn't actually around during the days of Lincoln. That's a little before my time. But yeah, we had a few Lincoln Logs when I was growing up. Lincoln Logs and Tinker Toys and erector sets. You know, I date myself. That's most of y'all probably don't even know what erector sets are anymore. That's really old school. But Again, anything that involves snapping things, screwing things together. Maybe that's why I became an engineer, because I had so much fun playing with those things growing up. Don saying that sounded like a mix of songs I know. I remember the lyrics. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I'm a believer by the Monkees. Talking about the Monkees again. Yeah, I like the Monkees as well. But Elvis, a special spot in terms of the songs and everything else. All right. So, well, before we go into the more serious, one more note, one more kind of anniversary. Do y'all know March 20th of last year? So we're talking, what, 1 year and a day or two? The release on Netflix of Tiger King. Y'all remember that show from a long time ago where Joe Exotic and everything and the tigers and all, and everyone, all anyone could talk about was the Tiger King. It was the big thing. Do y'all realize that's been a year ago now? That was at the very start of quarantine. Now suddenly we're a year into it, starting to come out of quarantine. But a year ago, Tiger King came out. That's all people could talk about. And now everyone knows what it is, but no one talks about it. It's amazing how quickly things get the attention of the media. Everyone talks about it, and then it goes away again and never to be seen again until Joe Exotic gets released from jail. And then I'm sure we'll see a whole lot more come up. Of course, we had Carol Baskin is still famous. She did Dancing with the Stars and everything. So you never know what's going to catch the public's attention. It was cool. But yeah, a year ago, the Tiger King was released. Chicky D says, 7 hours of my life I can't get back. Yeah, I gotta say though, it stuck with me. It's kind of creepy and unsettling as a lot of that show was, and just made you feel uncomfortable. But it was interesting. There's a lot of very interesting people in this world, and they aren't all on reality TV, but they were still documentary. So yeah, that was very interesting people on that. All right, so let's talk about some other things that are going on, the good and the bad this week. It was a crazy week, guys. It truly was. And I don't want to bring down the whole evening and all that, so I'm going to do it quick. But on the bad side, we had a rough situation. My daughter, Kelly, on St. Patrick, talk about St. Patrick's celebrating. We did not celebrate it here because on St. Patrick's evening, my daughter got rushed to the emergency room with some issues, had bad headaches and everything else. Turns out she had a blood clot in her brain. Yes, indeed. That is not the phone call that as a parent you ever want to get. Rushing to the hospital, not knowing exactly what was going on, in the ER, going through CAT scans and MRIs and all of that. We spent the majority from Wednesday night until late Saturday, spent the majority at a hospital here, an amazing hospital, Memorial Hermann, just a phenomenal hospital here in Houston, but spent the majority of the time there while she was getting treated and everything else. It was very stressful. My hair turns grayer every day of the week, but you know, that's being a parent. Yeah, you always worry about your kids. But the good news is, I don't want to carry this on too long. The good news is she's fine. Released from the hospital, everything worked out. They got to it early enough and took care of it. So she's fine. But talking about a stressful 3 or 4 days, it was, Ma saying blood clots. Yeah, blood clots are not good. So that was rough. But got to it early enough. No issues. Everything's fine at this point in time. So take a giant breath and you proceed with life. And so we're all good. But yeah, difficult few days. So that's the bad news. But you know what? I'm an optimist. And everything worked out well. So that was good. Now on the better side, on the good side of the news, having to do with medical as well. I have now received, and has my wife Sharon, we have now received our second COVID shot, which means we are now as protected as we can be, I suppose. Woohoo! We've spent a year. We were very serious about it because, you know, I'm not a 20-something, as y'all saw on the Big Brother. I'm a little older. I'm a little more at risk with COVID and all. So we were very careful about quarantining. We didn't go into restaurants. We didn't do anything for the past year. We started our quarantine on March 21st of last year. This is the 22nd. So just almost a full year that we were in full-blown quarantine, not doing anything except getting to talk to you guys. But we got our second COVID vaccine, feel a little bit safer. Man, I ate McDonald's for the first time in a year. Followed right up. I mean, it should have been Whataburger first, but the Whataburger was not close to where we were at the time. So we settled for McDonald's, which was okay. I like my McDonald's too. But I got a chance a little bit later, went over and grabbed me some Whataburger. Last night, had Chinese food. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So it's phenomenal. So I'm back to a more normal, conventional world, and it was so great. Angie saying first COVID shots won't be available for people my age here until July, September. Yeah, I know y'all youngins. It's taking a little bit longer for y'all, but you got to take care of us old folks, right? Now I know I keep hearing, and I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, Angie, but I know down here they keep saying by May or June, everyone who wants to get a vaccine should get a vaccine, and hopefully that's the case. But yeah, I feel a lot safer because of it. So let's see. Yeah, Tim saying, sure that gray hair isn't from the Big Brother house. Oh, trust me, Tim. I got a lot of gray hair while I was in there. I'm amazed that my hair didn't just fall out while I was in there. The most stressful. Well, not. I mean, worrying about your kids always going to be more stressful than any freaking game show. So it's not the most stressful, but in terms of just 24 hours a day that you can't get away from ever, that kind of stress you had in the Big Brother house. Yeah, my hair, I'm lucky it didn't just turn all kinds of different colors. It could have fallen out. I'm not a vain guy. It could all fallen out. I'd be bald headed. It'd be fine. It doesn't bother me any at all. But yeah, a little stressful while I was in the house. All right, let's see. Turned 16 in June, so I'll be eligible for Pfizer. Ma saying, Dad's getting the Moderna. You know what? Yeah. Here's the beauty about it. Even for the people that aren't getting the shots just yet, the people who are below the age limits, who for whatever health reasons can't get the shots, the more the rest of us gets those shots, the less likely it is that this stuff's going to keep spreading. We get to that herd immunity once you get like 70% of the people who've either gotten the shot or have already had COVID and all that. That's what we need. And then, it's going to be the world's biggest party once someone comes out and says, yeah, we're good, guys. Don't worry about it. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but at some point we're going to feel comfortable just getting out and doing things again. And it's going to be so glorious and so fantastic. So that's going to be great. Any side effects, Angie's asking, from either of the doses? No, the only side effect is my arm hurt like hell. It was a sore. It was sore. I got to say, it just felt like someone hit me upside the arm with a baseball bat. And I've had a lot of shots over the years because when I traveled international, they gave me shots for everything. I got rabies shots. I got yellow fever shots. I got malaria pills. I guess not shots on that, but I got every kind of shot you can imagine. And some of the rabies shots are some of the worst I ever had. But this COVID shot was a little uncomfortable. But you know what? It's well worth it. And if I got sore arm, that's whatever. And that's pretty minor compared to the effects of COVID. So I'm happy to take it. All right, let's see what else. So we had the COVID getting taken care of, and now with that in mind, we're a little more free right now. And then I turn around and I see Miami Beach. Have y'all been seeing that? They declared a state of emergency down there. People going crazy. I guess they're shutting down all the spring breakers. The restaurants, they've all shut down. The nightclubs, everything, because there was just so many people down there going wild and crazy and just swarming. And they said that a lot of them were spring breakers. A lot of them were just people from the Miami area that were just excited to be able to get out and about again. And so, yeah, I've seen the news, and it's kind of scary. A lot of people out there. Now, I remember my own time, before the wife, I remember going down to Padre Island down in South Texas for spring break when I was in college, and having a lot of fun down there. We used to go, we'd hang out at the beach during the day, and then at night, we would just drive across the border or walk across the border into Matamoros, Mexico, and hang out at the bars and everything else down there. That was a different age back then. I would not want to do that nowadays. You got to be a little more careful and everything before COVID, just in general. But yeah, back then that's what we did. It was exciting couple of years when we went and did that. And with that in mind, someone asked, and I think it may have been Angie, asked a month or so ago, said, how did you and Sharon ever meet? And as much as I talked about SKD and all of that, I don't know if I really ever told the story. So for y'all, I'm gonna tell a little bit more of a story about how Sharon and I met, how we started dating, how we got married, and all of that. We actually met on spring break, in Padre Island. We were both going to Texas A&M, but a huge school. You don't always see each other when you're there on campus. But Sharon's roommate was dating my roommate, and both groups had decided to go down to Padre Island for spring break. And so my roommate and her roommate booked 2 hotel rooms side by side. One of them was going to be for all the ladies. The other one was going to be for all the guys. And so we all showed up down there at Padre Island, and that's when I met Sharon. And she was dating a guy at the time, so it was wasn't anything romantic. It was just friendship. But we had a blast running around with each other. We were the ones, when we went down into Mexico, Sharon and I were the ones that didn't have any reservations about hopping up on the stage in the middle of the town square and dancing away and acting silly. We're the two that bought sombreros and bought hammocks and just had fun while we were down there. So had a blast with each other, but then that was the end of it. But then a couple of years later, our roommates got married to each other, so we were both invited to the wedding. We ran into each other again after a couple of years. Neither one of us was dating anyone at the time, so the rest is history. So that was a story about before the wife, and so we met because of our roommates, had a blast running around in Padre Island, and now here we are. So there's our story about how the two of us started this wonderful and amazing family that we now have. All right, look at my deals. Boss, and I love knowing so much about Sharon. It's a little tough for Sharon. I'm the kind, if you're going to go on Big Brother, you pretty much have to say, yeah, my life's an open book. Y'all, yeah, whatever. There's no privacy if you're going to go on that show. So I pretty much said, yeah, do whatever. Embarrass me, make jokes, do whatever you want. I'm game. But it's tough because the whole family gets exposed to it as well. Just, y'all saw my HOH pictures, a wedding picture with Sharon, and I intentionally chose to really involve my wife and kids as well. I thought it was important. They meant so much to me, and I just wanted to make them part of the story. And it worked, but it certainly meant that they were part of the narrative as well, and probably got a lot more discussions about them than maybe they had planned going into the house itself. Andy's saying my arm is very sore too. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they've got sore arms from COVID, but they'll survive it. It'll be all right. Parker is excited that Survivor's starting. I saw that. I saw Jeff Probst do his little mention that I guess production has started up. I didn't read any of the details. I don't know if they've already picked the new cast, if it's the same cast when they had to shut down last time and they're just restarting the whole game, or I don't know, maybe have some people been evicted and they're already done, but who's left is finishing up. I don't know any of the details, but yes, I'm incredibly happy to have Survivor back again. Survivor's back. They're casting for Big Brother. We've got Big Brother Canada going on. A little behind on Big Brother Canada because with all the hospital stuff, I just haven't had a chance to get caught up, but it's certainly reality season, right? We've got 2 bachelorettes, I guess, coming up. Bachelor in Paradise. We got all kinds of reality TV coming up. So, that as summer comes along, it's going to be fun. Hopefully, that's a sign that things are getting a little bit more back to normal. Don saying I'd have no problem with that. I'd just give shout outs to my favorite past contestants, my other friends. I try to do a lot of shout outs. I truly did. I wanted people to know whose games I'd enjoyed and everything. And you've got to be careful because you can't talk about people in a house that haven't given permission to be talked about. There are all kinds of things that have to be signed. So my wife and kids I could talk about, but I can't suddenly turn around and talk about some old, relative that, other person, whatever. It's got to be, you got to have all kinds of things signed away in there. So there were a lot of things that you weren't allowed to talk about. But yeah, as soon as they signed their documents, I said, y'all are going to hear y'all's name mentioned a lot. So just be prepared for it. All right, so let's see. What else is going on with this? All right. Yeah, I talked about going to the McDonald's. I talked about going to Whataburger. I talked about the Chinese food. I was going to mention, it reminds me when I got out of the Big Brother house. I think I've said before, most people, when they're evicted from the Big Brother house, if they're on jury, they go to the jury house that same night. I think. But I didn't do that. The 4th place person doesn't go to the jury house. They go to a sequester spot because the very next night is the jury roundtable that y'all see on TV and all of that. And so I was a little disappointed. I said, "Now, Cliff, you aren't going to the jury house. We're going to put you up here and then you're going to do the jury roundtable and then you're stuck here until the finale night itself." So, all right, well, whatever. But as we're driving along, I noticed a McDonald's over in the corner, and I said, "Dad, it's been 3.5 months. could y'all perhaps just stop in that McDonald's and get me a bit of food? They say, well, Cliff, we can't do that. We got to get you processed and everything, but we'll do it later for you. So once I got settled and everything else, I was asked, I said, Cliff, do you want some McDonald's? You know, and that's your outhouse. I said, yeah, that'd be great. They said, so what do you want? Give us your order. We'll get it. I said, well, I don't know. How about one of everything? Can you get me a quarter pounder, a fish sandwich, some fries, a big old Dr. Pepper, a strawberry milkshake, McChicken? Just give me a little bit of everything on the menu, some chicken nuggets, because I'm missing every bit of it. And they did it. They came back with a bunch of big old sacks and said, here you go, Cliff. Enjoy your evening. Have a blast with the food. And I did. I enjoyed every bit of it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right, Angie saying, sorry to ask, but was it real Chinese food or fake Chinese food like lemon chicken? It was probably a little more, I'm not going to say fake, a little more Americanized maybe. It certainly wasn't. It wasn't what I've eaten in Beijing and Shekou and places like that. I had spicy, tangy chicken, and it's our version of Chinese food down here. But it was so good. It was fantastic. I'm ready to go eat it again. I love Chinese food. I love Chinese food. I love Thai food. I love a lot of the food that originates in the Asian countries, and some of it I really like because it is so spicy. Tom yum soup that I had in Malaysia, the hottest dish that I ever had. When I ordered it and they asked me, they said, how spicy do you want it? And I said, I want it as spicy as y'all eat it. And they all started laughing, which was not a good sign. But at that point, I wasn't going to back down. Also not a good sign when they delivered the soup to me and all the waiters are standing around my table waiting for me to taste the first bit of it. Never a good sign. Never. I could hold it about this far from my mouth, and my nose was already rebelling because I could smell all the spices and the heat and everything else. But at that point, I'm not going to back down, right? You gotta show off a little bit. So I ate that stuff. The hottest dish I've ever had, spicy level. I'm sure there was steam coming on my nose, my mouth, and everything else. But it was so good. I would go back to Malaysia just to go to that hotel and eat tom yum soup from that one place. They have that TV show, The Best Thing I Ever Tasted. That may be it for me. It was incredible. But it was hot. It was spicy. And speaking of, I do have a little special something that I bought while I was at the grocery store last week. First time I went to the grocery store in a while. All right, guys, here you go. These aren't Cheetos or cheese puffs. They are Carolina Reaper peppers. So they're cheese puffs, but they have a special level of spice to it. All right, here you go, guys. See, looks like kind of a cheese puff, right? But it's got Carolina Reaper peppers, which are 10,000, 100,000 times spicier than a jalapeno pepper. They are spicy, but they're so good. I shouldn't have done that while I'm sitting there talking to y'all. They're so good. We bought them and have had a blast eating them. That builds. You've got to have a little water with you nearby. I really shouldn't have eaten that while I was sitting there talking. That's kind of rude, but y'all seen me eat before, so whatever. But here's the thing. It's going to be so fun. When we celebrate Easter, now that we've had the COVID vaccine, we're going to be able to go up and celebrate Easter with my extended family because most of them have had the shot. They've already been exposed to COVID. Everyone's pretty safe up there. So we're going to go up as an extended family. And I think I'm going to take some of these Carolina Reapers with me. And I'm just going to put them out in a bowl on the table. People are just going to assume they're just standard old Cheetos cheese puffs. And maybe I'll just film some of it and just see who takes a bite and it has a little steam coming off their ears as well because it's spicy and not everyone's as used to the spice as I am. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, Chicky, definitely need a water chaser. But it's funny because when you first bite it, it's like, man, that's not so bad, and then it just starts building up and building up and building up. I've always thought it'd be fun to be, I don't know, fun may not be the right word, be a competitive eater. Now, I'm not going to be like Joey Chestnut, who does up at the Coney Island and eats 400 hot dogs in 5 minutes or whatever. I can't do that. But just give me one little tiny pepper and challenge me to eat it. Maybe I could do something like that. I would rue the day. I can only imagine how miserable that could truly be. But it'd be fun to try it once. I wish in the Big Brother house they'd had some kind of eating challenge because I think I could have done well. But in my season, they didn't for whatever reason. And, well. I would have dominated. It couldn't have been anything so horrible that I wouldn't have done whatever it took in order to win that particular competition. All right, Don, I see that you're taking off. Have a great one. Good evening, my friend. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Cliff is sponsored by the spicy off-brand Reaper Cheetos. Yeah, I guess that's true, Ma. That's made by H-E-B, which is a huge grocery store based here in Texas, and they make a lot of their own stuff, and they know what Texans like, and we like our spicy food, so it's pretty good. Chris is saying, I enjoy watching competitive eaters on YouTube. I watch some of the Man versus Food, some of the shows on TV where they do, not necessarily competing against other people, but can you eat this 14-pound hamburger in the next 30 minutes? Things like, can you eat this 50-egg cheese omelet before the time runs out? I've watched a lot of those, and we've talked about the Big Texan Steakhouse here on the show before. So, yeah, I always love watching people that do stupid things just for the sake of doing it. That's what life's all about, right? All right, Parker saying, William Shatner celebrating his 90th birthday. I saw that. Can you? 90 years old. And he is hilarious. That guy, I mean, I loved him on Star Trek. One of the first science fiction show I really got into that I loved. But then he's done so many other things. He's done singing. I got to say, if William Shatner can put up albums singing songs, makes me think I could do it as well. Because there's nothing, I think listening to William Shatner sing makes me sound like I'm ready for American Idol or The Voice or something. He's fine doing it. He did that. He's done a bunch of shows. He doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think that's such a cool thing to see in an actor. He's just there to have fun. And so, yeah, props to William Shatner, 90 years old and still going strong. And I hope he continues to do it. There's a show, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it was great. It was William Shatner, Henry Winkler played the Fonz, and George Foreman traveling around the world and seeing different sites. And they're all in their 80s, and they're going and doing different dances in different countries and things. That's a lot of fun. I had a blast watching that show. Oh, thank you, Ma. Cliff, when you sang the Elvis song earlier, didn't sound terrible. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not going to be going on any singing competition shows anytime soon, but as I've said before, I think I've got an okay shower voice. It's okay when the shower's running and you got some echoes off the walls, and if you're too bad, you just turn the water volume up high enough that you can't hear it singing anyway. That's the kind of singer I am. But hey, y'all saw me. Hey, if I'm willing to twerk on Big Brother, then I'm sure as heck willing to sing. I don't have a whole lot of embarrassed bones in my body, I suppose, if I'm willing to do all of that. All right, let's see. So what else is going on? We talked about COVID and spring break and all of that. Big news. No one's even asked me about my background, right? I guess you can kind of tell what it is. Race cars, right? This week, Sunday at 11 o'clock Central Time on ESPN2, we're starting the 2021 season of Formula One racing. And I know a lot of y'all saying, I don't care about that, but I love Formula One. It's not like NASCAR. They don't race just around an oval track. It's actually a bunch of left and right-hand turns, race tracks, everything, using the Formula One cars. And high dollar sport. But I've watched it forever because when I used to work overseas, it's such a big sport in Asia, in the UK, in the Middle East. Everyone follows Formula One there. So if I'm going to communicate, if I'm going to develop relationships with the people who live there, it's important for me to know that sport as well. So I spent a lot of time learning everything I could about Formula One, English Premier League soccer, all the things that you need to know if you're working outside the United States. And so as a result with Formula One, because I started researching it, I started watching it more and more often so I could talk about it and kind of fell in love with the sport, the strategy, and everything else that's going on. So they did some races last year, but with COVID, it's kind of a shortened season. It wasn't a full-blown season. This year, it's pretty much going to be full-blown. The very first race of the new season is going to be on Sunday in Bahrain. I think they run 22, 23 races throughout the summer and into the early fall. He's just a lot of fun. There's so much strategies there involved. We've got our favorites. Max Verstappen's a driver, a guy named Vettel. Lewis Hamilton's the all-star. He wins several world championships, so he's always fun to watch. So there you go. It's a lot of fun. They actually have one Formula One race here in the United States later in the season. It's in Austin. I haven't been, but it'd be kind of fun to go to because it's such a big deal. It's huge. International people coming in and everything. All right, Cindy's saying, how hard was the haunted house endurance challenge? Hang on fright. It's what it was called. Yeah, that was tough. That was not easy. I went in, and I've watched enough Big Brother over the years that I really expected that. It seems like the more petite people do better on that. So I figured that, maybe Tommy would do well. I thought Nicole would do well. Jessica, myself, Christy, didn't think we were gonna do that well. The hardest part of that competition was the fact that, and I don't know if y'all remember, but we had to hang on, but it wasn't just a bar behind us. It was a bunch of wooden planks set at different angles. And so it was real hard to get a grip that you could actually hold on to and get a good position. And it was even harder for me because since my arms are longer, when I was holding on at the back, once that wall started tilting, and it tilted a lot. I mean, it was tilting like this at times. A whole lot more than it even looks like on TV. Well, my body weight, I was immediately pulling forward so much more than most people because my arms were longer, which meant my center of gravity was not over the platform and where my feet were, but out over just empty space. And it was hard. We had these little big old sand beach ball things that looked like ghosts that would swing and hit us in the belly and all of that. And I know Nicole hated that. A few of the others hated that. That didn't faze me that much. I got a little padding, so I just kind of tightened up and was fine. But hanging on for as long as I did was tough. And it really affected me. I had an injury. I've got a shoulder injury even to this day that resulted from hang on fright. Because we did that, and then we did the BB comics a little bit later, a week or two later, where you have to hold on to the zip line and but holding on to those planks was incredibly difficult. And at one point, eventually I saw that Tommy and Mickey, they did well because they were holding on like this, and they were using their triceps and everything, and they did well. I kept trying to adjust to a lot of different positions, but at one point I leaned out too far and I couldn't pull myself back, and they were spraying water on us and things like that. And I felt myself losing my grip, and pretty soon it's like, you're not going to survive until the wall shifts back to vertical. And that was it. But yeah, it was a fun competition just because I've seen it on TV so many times. So for me to actually be there competing was fantastic. And, Jessica had her fall, and you would have thought she fell 50 feet the way she screamed on the way down. It was what, 6 feet, 8 feet into really very soft padding. But Jessica got a lot of attention by her screaming on the way down. It was actually pretty funny sitting up on the wall as well once she fell. And again, you would thought she'd fallen forever. So that was kind of cool. All right, let's see. Let me see. Big Brother Canada, so good. Andy saying, again, I'm a little bit behind, but I've been trying to keep up. And I know the sides are going at it with each other. You don't have one giant alliance like I had on my Big Brother season. It's kind of cool. I like seeing the sides fighting back and forth. Didn't have that in our season. You work with what you got. But yeah, I think Big Brother Canada has done pretty well so far also. All right, Brian's saying, can you talk about shooting the intro scene for Big Brother? Did you know they were doing it? Yeah, I did, Brian, a little bit. But here's the deal. They're so sneaky. They're so smart at what they've been doing this forever. And so I was told, and I can't go into a whole lot of detail, but I was basically told that, look, obviously there's a chance you could get on the show, but you also are probably aware that we have a lot of alternates, a lot of people that show up that don't ever make it on because we have to cover our bases and all that. So we're going to send someone out to film some intros of you and everything. No guarantee that you're even get taken. It may just be for the intros, but be packed just in case. They said, but we want to do some intros. And once we have all the intros, then we'll be making some decisions about who actually is going to be on the show and all that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. So the little film crew shows up, and I kind of knew the locations because they'd scouted out stuff and all and such. But I had no clue that I thought there's a good chance I could get taken away. I thought there's a good chance at that point in time I perhaps was going to be on the show. But when y'all see me on that intro, find that key, that's it. There's no acting involved. That's not, take 3, act more surprised. That was a one shot. They filmed me actually turn around, finding the key in the tackle box. I had no idea. I really had thought even if they are going to hide the key and have me find it, that it'll be later in the day. Towards the end, they had just started filming not much earlier. And so I find the key. And at that point, they said, yeah, Cliff, you're going to be on the show. You're flying out today. Give us your cell phone. And that was it. So they took that, and then they had all kinds of ideas about, how they wanted to portray you, asking questions and having you talk about things. They were responding to their questions and things like that. So it was, it was cool. But no, I had no idea that I was going to go on the show. And most of us were the same way, that we really didn't, we didn't have a clue that Key was going to be there. They surprised all of us. I have heard that there may have been one or two people who cursed and said some words that can't go on primetime TV, and as a result, they may have had to bleep out or edit the way they discovered their key a little bit and things like that. I don't know that for certain, but I know some people were very surprised. But no, and when y'all see it, that's absolutely me in complete shock that the key was there, and very happy as well. That's when it really hit home, because at that point, it's then like, all right, now you got to go home. Your suitcase, I hope it's ready, because as soon as they're ready, you're heading to the airport. And it was amazing. All right, let's see. What else is going on, guys? Let's see. Cliff, don't you think you should give the contestants more padding? I'm always surprised they don't, especially for contests where they had to run on slippery surface. They don't want you to have any more padding, Jeffrey. They want to see you fall flat on your face and hear that plop and noise and everything. Talk about slippery surfaces. That Oktoberfest was our competition, the slip and slide. And the stuff they used, it was just lard, I guess. It was the slipperiest stuff I've ever been on. It is the most frustrating where you are within a foot or two of the end where you're trying to get to of the hill, and you can't get your feet to go that last foot or two. I think I fell once. Jessica fell a couple of times, and she fell hard a couple of times. But I'll give it to her. She fought from start to finish. She didn't give up at all. Even when it was obvious that she wasn't going to win, she was still going back and forth. But yeah, they don't want any more padding than necessary. I had to bring my own padding, and that worked to my advantage in some of the competitions. But yeah, I know Nicole was a little sore from a few of these competitions with the stuff hitting her. Yeah, they beat balls at you, and you're expected to jump on tables and slide across them and fall flat on these slip and slide surfaces. Your body takes a beating in there. Everyone's body, especially mine. You got to be prepared for it. That's absolutely it. Big Brother should get permission for house guests to sing. It'd be fun to watch. Chris is saying, oh yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. And I guarantee, Chris, if I'd had permission, I would have been singing more than anyone else. And I would have been singing songs a whole lot different than everyone else. I wouldn't be singing. It's not that I dislike some music more than others. It's just, I grew up in different period. I'm singing a whole lot of country music, whole lot of musicals, whole lot of ABBA and different songs, and 70s disco and all. I can sing a lot of songs. I would have had a blast with it, but apparently it's all about the copyrights and licensing. If I sing some song, if I sing a George Strait song, then CBS, I guess, has to immediately pay George Strait some kind of royalty for playing his song on a commercial broadcast, and they didn't want to do that. Hell, I would have cost CBS a fortune with as much singing as I would have done. So I get it. But it was hard. It was because you couldn't. It's not just the singing, but it's also the humming. It's the whistling. Anything that's a recognizable song, you can't do. And Jeffrey's saying that twerking's not the best idea ever. Well, for me, never is twerking the best idea, a good idea, or even a kind of okay idea. That was tough. I don't know if y'all remember, it was part of a fashion show. I was in a runoff versus Nick. I didn't care if I won the fashion show or not. That didn't matter. But it was all about trying to fit in with those 20-something-year-olds. And so when they said, you got to twerk on this dance-off, I didn't want to be the old guy and say, I'm not twerking. Hell no, I'm not going to twerk. No, I had to just jump in there. And I figured, I'm sure not going to win any votes by how I twerk. So I'm going to have to make it as humorous as possible. And if I can get them laughing, then that's a big part of the process to get them aboard on my side and develop the relationship with them. So yeah, I'm out there twerking away and they're laughing away. And hey, I didn't have to watch it. Y'all had to watch it. The other people in the house had to watch it. Y'all were the ones being punished. I'm just up there acting old goofy Cliff like I always am. But yeah, that was. I did think about my family sitting at home watching that as well. That was a little tough. But hey, you do what you have to do to fit in with the rest of the house in there. All right, the infamous Jessica scream. Yeah, that'll live in infamy, I suppose. Chickadee, that was funny. I don't think she knew at the time just how popular that was going to be. We didn't have a clue. We really inside the house. No one told us anything. They didn't say, "Oh, Jessica's a hit with this." We didn't have a clue until we got out, and then we heard everyone was talking about that. All right, let's see what else. Angie saying they refilmed the Amazing Race finishes to get the perfect shot. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, especially these shows where nothing is live, and so it's more accepted, I suppose, to have a cameraman right there and filming everything and all that. And but with us, with so much of it being live, it's just a different idea. It's a different attitude. So there was very few things that was ever, nothing was refilmed. None of the competitions y'all ever saw, the finishes, the starts, none of that. We never did it. And then they said, stop, do it again, because we want you to look better. None of that happened. Start to finish, it was filming. I guess they had enough cameras zoomed in on us from so many different angles that they figured they could edit it together. They've been doing it for so long. So yeah, trust me when I tell you, nothing that you see is recreated for the viewers when we're talking about competitions or arguments or anything else. That was all natural. That was all organic from start to finish. Chickadee, Foo Fighters Cliff. All right, I'm not sure what that's in relation to because, but I love the Foo Fighters. I was late to the party. Heck, they've been around since what, 95 or so. Guess we were busy with kids back then because I just really started listening to Foo Fighters just recently. But I love, man, every song I hear of theirs, I like more and more. It's fantastic. I've got to say though, the one Foo Fighter song that I've known forever is "Looking for the Sky to Save Me." Do y'all know that one? I mean, maybe it's "Learning to Fly" or something. I'm not sure what the title is, but "Looking for the Sky to Save Me." I spent the last 10 years or so thinking that song was looking for this guy to save me. I thought it was a guy, like he's looking for some friend to save him, not the sky. So it's kind of embarrassed when I realized that for the past 10 years, I've been singing that song incorrectly. But hey, live and learn. I've become a big fan of the Foo Fighters here just recently. Just so you know, just your little tidbit of information. This is the first year that the Foo Fighters are eligible for entry into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they may not make it this year, but if not, they'll make it next year or the year after. I think it's the Foo Fighters, the Go-Go's, Motley Crue, and Tina Turner are the four I recognize that are eligible. And Tina Turner ought to be in a heartbeat. But I think the others should be as well. But anyway, so there's your little bit of information. Foo Fighters up for potential inclusion into the Hall of Fame. All right, let's see what else is going on. The Nicole diary room during the food comp is hilarious. She says there's sauce going in crevices. There was sauce going everywhere. That was horrible. Man, I lost my contacts, everything on that competition. That was rough. All right, let's see. I was looking. I saw one on here. Would have sung Beatles, Queen, and Melanie Martinez. I would have sung. Well, I don't know that much about Melanie Martinez. Beatles and Queen, I would have been singing a whole lot of. All right, Chris. Let's see. I just saw there. Can't keep with these comments. The twerking was one of the funniest things ever on Big Brother. Your daughter was on Twitter talking about it. She's really funny as well. Yeah, I know. I love that Kelly was out here kind of representing me and talking about my background and what she thought of as the child of a contestant on the show. You don't have a lot of children, or not that she's a kid. She's in her 20s now, but you don't have the children of contestants for the most part. You have parents and brothers and sisters watching their people in the house. But Kevin Schlober had all his kids. I had Kelly and Daniel watching me, and she took it with the humor that was intended. Here's the thing about Kelly and Daniel. They knew when I went into the house that I was going to do whatever it took to try to fit in. I would have done anything just to survive in that house. And so they expected some of that. And I've mastered the art of embarrassing my kids in the real world. So why should Big Brother be any different? So yeah, I knew they'd be okay with it, but I've heard a story or two when I got out still about them talking about watching watching me twerking. And Chris, thank you. Most people, if they hear that their twerking is hilarious, may not take that for the compliment that it is. But for me, and knowing the way I twerk, I'll take it in a heartbeat. Thank you, sir. All right, let's see what else. Alex, do you plan to recap the challenge? Yeah, Alex, I've been doing it on YouTube as well. The last episode, I dropped it yesterday. I was a little behind with all the hospital stuff and everything, so bear with me on that. But yeah, I've been doing the challenge recap every week, and I'm loving the challenge. I don't know how many of y'all are watching it, but we're right down to the end. All the gold skulls have been won. There's one person still in the house, Big T, who doesn't have a skull. Everyone else that's still in the house has their skulls and is getting ready to compete in the finals. And we got a lot of Big Brother players still in the game as well. We lost Josh, but we've got Amber and KC and Fessy. So yeah, it's been a fun season. I'm trying to continue, and I'll continue to recap those through the rest of the season. Now I know Paramount Plus has a challenge All Stars that's going to be coming up on April 1st, something like that. I don't know if I'll recap that or not. We'll see. I haven't decided. It just depends on what all's going on. We're getting very close to Big Brother starting up and everything. And so I got to start getting ready for that, because obviously my main focus will be Big Brother once it comes along as well. Ma saying the mob dance. Yeah, mob dance was fun as well. Tommy, he had his hands full trying to teach me and a few others how to do that flash dance. But we had a blast. I had fun doing it. And I think I've said this once before, and if so, bear with me, but Julie Chen showed us on the TV screen, us watching ourselves showed us the flash dance, the mob dance. That was the first time that we actually got to see ourselves on TV, because we got to see it from the camera's point of view as we watched. And so that was kind of an interesting viewpoint to see it the way y'all saw it, and not from inside the house the way we were. So that was pretty cool. All right, let's see. Do you have plans to recap? Oh, sorry, Alex. Now I'm seeing what I misread. Do you have plans to recap something after the challenge? I kind of answered that question all wrong. Yeah. Now I see that you explained. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to read too many things too fast. Yeah, I'll definitely do Big Brother, and then I don't know. We'll see what else is on between when this challenge wraps up and when Big Brother starts. If not, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do. I've told travel stories back when I was doing TV Co. I may go in and do travel stories, but in a lot more detail. I'll dedicate 10 minutes to a story and give a lot more feedback. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out something to do out here. If not, maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I'm open to suggestions. Y'all tell me what y'all want me out here doing, and I'm happy to recap or story tell or whatever else it may take. Chicky D. Kenny, I was shocked that, yes, I'm shocked too that Tina Turner has not already been inducted in the Hall of Fame. Lord knows she surely has been up for it forever, right? I mean, her career has been so long, and I don't know why she wouldn't have gotten in on her very first attempt. She's the queen. She's the queen, but yeah, for whatever reason, she hadn't made it in yet. So yeah, and I saw the votes that were coming. I guess there's a fan vote portion of it. And Tina Turner, she's got like hundreds of thousands of votes, and then Foo Fighters and the Go-Go's and Motley Crue, they're like a third of a quarter of what Tina Turner has. So the queen, she deserves it, and she better get it. It's crazy. I don't know how all the inductions work. I don't know how much is. I don't know how much is who has the contracts of the albums that have the influence and who doesn't. Who knows what goes on? But yeah, Tina needs to be in for certain. Let's see what else. All right, I was looking for one I saw just a second. Yeah, Angie, did I hear a landline phone in the background? Yeah, you did. We still have a landline, probably not for too much longer, but for now, we've still got a landline. And let's see. Oh, Ma's asking, Daniel Hogg, are you his kid? Oh, Daniel. Hey, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel's my son. Daniel's the D and the SKD 143. All right. Do you have anyone you know personally you'd like to see on Big Brother? Yeah, I could put my son or daughter on there. I could put them on as though I have any influence whatsoever. I think it'd be interesting to see Daniel or my daughter Kelly, either one. They are both charismatic enough, smart enough, and athletic enough. They would dominate in a lot of ways on the show. I'm a little bit biased, but I also, y'all would find out I was right if they ever made it on. So yeah, I'd love to see either one of them on the show. I gotta say, over the years, over the year and a half or so since I was on the show, I've met a few people at meet and greets and things like that, and I've told some people, said, "Man, you would be perfect to go on the show. You ought to try it. You are hilarious." So there's a few people here and there over the time period that would be fun. I'd love to see someone that I've met, and I know a few of you have reached out to me, and I've talking about auditioning and all of that, and I've talked to a few people. I would love to see someone that I know out here trying out for Big Brother and suddenly making it on. That would be incredible. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, if I have my choice, my top two choices for Big Brother are obviously Daniel or Kelly. And now Daniel's saying he's that you're not fishing for a spot. You're probably smarter than I am when it comes to throwing yourself out there and doing it. But you may not be fishing for a spot, but just know that I think you do fantastic on the show. You and your sister both. But yeah, it's you just see some people sometimes that stand out just because they either they have no fear or they have no filter. Maybe that's what it is. Because here I've told people a lot of times, people say, "What's it take to be on Big Brother?" And I really think the biggest thing, you've got to be willing to have a conversation. You have to be able to have a conversation. The last thing these producers want, you can be the worst villain, you can be the most friendly, heroic person ever, but if you aren't open enough to have a conversation, to put yourself out there, then they're not going to want you on the show. You've got to be willing just to throw your hands up in the air and say, "Hey, whatever, let's do this thing," and be willing to talk. If they ask you a question that can be answered in a one-word yes or no, you ought to be prepared to talk for the next 15 minutes on it. Because that's what they look for in auditioning and everything else. And as y'all can tell, I can carry on a conversation for a while. I can talk to a rock, and I'll still out talk the rock. Yeah, was it Davy Crockett who stared down the knot on a tree? I think one time the knot finally gave up. I don't know, one of those old wild legends or something. I feel like I could do the same thing. I talk to a rock, and I bet the rock would get bored before I would. So yeah, you got to be willing to carry on a conversation. All right, now, Daniel saying me versus Alyssa Riley, who wins? Oh wow, you're really putting me on the spot. No, Alyssa was. I think she played with her heart. We'll just put it like that. She played with her heart a little bit more. I know that Daniel would play the logic game, play strategic. I've played Monopoly and I've played Risk with Daniel, so I know versus Alyssa who relies on the strategy and who relies on pulling on the heartstrings and everything else. So you got my vote, Daniel. I'm not ever voting to evict you, right? So maybe we could go on the show and not tell anyone that we know each other. I think we're past that point, but you never know. Hope they have a family member Big Brother type of casting. That'd be fun. We've talked before. Tommy and I talked. Said, how cool would it be if one of my kids went into Big Brother and Tommy's dad, who's a huge fan, went into Big Brother? So it would be the Bracco family and the Hogg family, just a little bit of role reversal and everything else. I still think it'd be kind of cool. I would love to see a Big Brother season that has nothing but siblings and relatives and children or parents of former players. And I guess you have to tell them, because soon enough they would figure out that someone would say, "Oh, my brother was on," or whatever, and someone would realize that, oh, we all have relatives. So I don't think you could keep it a secret. But how cool it would be if you had a Big Brother where everyone was related to someone who had already been on the show, because you don't really know what to expect. If you get Derek's got a brother or a relative, is he going to play the same way that Derek did? If Rachel Riley, we've seen her sister, but yeah, it'd be curious to see if relatives played the same strategy or if they played completely different. You just wouldn't know. All right, let's see what else. Oh God, it's already 8:00, guys. This goes so fast, but I have so much fun with it. Cliff for Reality Showdown Survivor Edition. Okay, yeah, I could get down with that, Alex. That'd be fun. I'd take on. I think I'd do all right with Survivor. I think I'd do okay competing against other Survivor people. Brittany Haynes said Dan Giesling was great primarily because he formed deep connections with everyone in the house. Hayden, that's what you've got to do. It's all about forming the connections. It's all about not taking anything too personal when you're in the game. Man, people screwed me over from start to finish in there, and I tried not to take it personal. I tried to always be looking ahead, not so far backwards, and trying to keep those relationships. And there was a lot of time spent telling people, saying, hey, whatever you do, we're still buddies, right? And, I won't hold it personal if you have to do things that you do. But having said that, anything you can do to create the empathy between two people only helps your cause as you get further into the game. So you've got to develop the relationships more than anything else at all. And Alex and Dan said he went days without talking about himself. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's hard. We're all in there trying to tell our own stories and all of that, but you've got to be a listener. As much as we all like to talk, if you're going on that show, you've got to be a listener as well, and you've got to pay attention to what other people are saying. Remember what they're saying about their families and what's important to them, and it was actually fun. It was fun hearing all these so diverse a group of people in there and hearing all their different stories, especially with the people I was in the house with. There were just some characters in there, so it was a lot of fun. Moss and Cliff Notes Zoom meeting next week. Maybe not next week because we got Easter and stuff going on. I don't know. We'll see. But at some point, as we get a little further into the spring, we'll try to maybe put something together. That would be kind of fun. All right, guys. I'm going to shut it down because it has been a long week before I even jumped on board tonight. But I am so happy I got to come out here and do this. I needed the break. I needed the relaxation. So, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. The challenge is on again Wednesday, so I'll be doing a recap of that right after that. I will be back again next Monday. We'll talk a little bit about Easter plans, things like that, I'm sure, and whatever else that y'all may have in mind. We'll see what new reality TV news we have. But in the meanwhile, SKD143, I love my wife. I love my kids. Thank all of you. Love all y'all out here as well. Y'all stay safe. Y'all have a fantastic week. And I will see y'all next Monday, if not earlier. Cheers, my friends. Y'all have a great one. Bye. I feel like I need to be singing some Elvis Presley